This one comes to us from X-Men Millennial Visions issue number 2. Here Deadpool is hired by Sebastian Shaw to take out the entire, and I mean the entire, X-Men team. While normally Deadpool might question a task this vile, in this reality, because it is an alternate reality, it really is all about the paycheck for Wade. He says he'll take any job as long as the price is right, and it turns out here, it was. Deadpool succeeds in his mission 3 years after accepting it and gets paid an impossibly large sum of money by the sounds of it. He does such a good job that he then gets hired again to take out, get this, all mutants. Not sure how Shaw fits in there, since he's also immune, but regardless, Deadpool says that he has almost complete this task with only 4 mutants remaining for him to hunt down at this point: Banshee, Northstar, Sunfire, and Wolverine. We also see in the full single page of artwork with this short story that Deadpool, after defeating Hank McCoy, has turned the beloved beast fur into a sort of coat. This one wasn't the real Captain America. It wasn't even Hydra Captain America. More real than that version though, this was a version of Captain America who was possessed. He'd had his form taken over by an alien who Deadpool had thought would come to destroy mankind, but who in actuality had come to bring peace on Earth. But how was it going to bring peace to all of Earth? By in turn possessing all of its inhabitants and removing them of their free will. Which of course would result in peace, but at a pretty high cost, I think, for most people. Deadpool at this time was imbued with cool armor by another entity known as Tiamat, initially prophesied to be the villain in this scenario, but actually aiding and fighting back against the alien entity, who of course had possessed a lot of Earth. While he struggled with the moral quandary of which was better, peace or free will, Deadpool ultimately chose free will and defeated possessed Captain America by kicking him in a very, very sensitive area. Only doing so, of course, in order to save the world. For those that don't know, Deadpool is actually a pretty big Captain America fan most of the time, so this isn't something that you would normally see happen. Nothing is more humbling than being tricked into falling into a giant pile of 372,844 pancakes in the morning, which is exactly what Deadpool did to Domino. This was back in the 2008 run of Deadpool when Wade was looking to join the X-Men. Granted, he did all this to Domino because in his crazy mind, it was a foolproof way to learn if Domino's offer to join the X-Men was really sincere, and not just part of a plot to try and eliminate him. He figured if he got rid of Domino and she was there to actually take him out under the guise of offering him, you know, membership into the X-Men would then have sent a backup team with her, which would be deployed the moment that she was taken out. So when no team jumped out to take her place, he instead helped her up out of that big pile of pancakes and offered her some of the pancakes to eat for breakfast, believing her offer to be the real deal. These two are usually my favorite to see team up, and it's constantly a back and forth between them of who is messing with who. In this instance, we had the Cable/Deadpool annual where Deadpool, after messing with time travel, royally messed up both his and Nathan's day by putting them in a scenario where, as Cable said, they could very much actually die and they might not even survive. That is how badly Deadpool messed up here. Weirdly impressive considering how powerful both of these characters are, and especially when we consider that, you know, they're teamed up together here. This is just the beginning of the story too. The rest of the annual is actually used to explain how they got here. I personally love this kind of storytelling where it just drops you right into the action and then we go back after to find out sort of how it all happened. In this turn of events, Cyclops played right into Wade's little hands. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Does Wade have little hands? Sometimes he does. If his hands have just been removed from his body and they gotta grow back, they're gonna be little hands. This was when Deadpool was given temporary membership to the X-Men. The story that also had all the pancakes we talked about. It turns out they had only offered Deadpool a place on the team because they wanted to keep a close eye on him. While hurt by this, Deadpool still did his best to play his part as an X-Men, or, you know, a fake X-Men, regardless of whether or not his membership was considered to be bona fide, by helping the mutants out. He took the fall for them and then in the end antagonized Cyc so that he'd fight an unmasked Deadpool while Wade was wearing his own unofficial X-Men costume. In the end, while he didn't want to, Cyclops was actually forced to admit that indeed Deadpool did have moves. This may be a bromance to Deadpool, but for Spider-Man, their relationship is mostly a nuisance. The two do seem to share some sincere moments of bonding now and then, like when Spider-Man and Deadpool bonded over talking about their incompleteness, the hole that they both have inside of them. But of course, Deadpool ruined it by offering to help Spider-Man with hole filling whenever he needed that. Yeah. awkward. Most of their moments are kinda like that. They finally have a moment of connection and then Wade usually ruins it. Wade aspires to be a good guy like Spider-Man, but to be honest, he struggles. He's stuck with an anti-hero mentality, which usually prevents him from going full hero most of the time. And it took a long time for Peter Parker to even accept that a killer like Wade was capable of goodness. I don't know why I put killer in quotes, he's definitely killed many people. When Deadpool was hunting down a daily reporter from the Bugle who was in the car with Peter, Wilson just tossed Parker out of the car and off a bridge without thinking, considering after that he may have actually just killed an innocent man. And when Parker returned in his Spider-Man guise to fight Deadpool, Deadpool claimed that, he knew Spider-Man would be around to save that guy he threw off the bridge, much to Parker's frustration. Like if Deadpool just rolled with it though. He's like, oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I didn't think I was gonna kill that guy. Deadpool also sometimes is his own worst enemy, let's be honest. But other than fighting against his nature, he has also fought a literal evil version of himself. This version of Deadpool is simply known as Evil Deadpool. He was built from pieces of Deadpool that were hacked off and collected by Dr. Ella Whitby, who was once Wade's psychiatric doctor when he was in prison, and was revealed to be, obsessed and in love with him. Yeah, the stalker vibes. After this patchwork version of Deadpool came to life, because all the pieces conjoined and made a very freaky looking version of Deadpool, it was revealed that this version of Pool was the opposite of the original Deadpool. And where Deadpool is normally a hero, Evil Deadpool was, well, evil. Although still technically an evil version of a hero, which is how I'm gonna count him for my list. Check mark. Initially, Deadpool killed Evil Deadpool by sacrificing the cure he had found for himself. It would have actually cured him of his healing factor, leaving him powerless and allowing him to actually die, which at that point was something he wanted. Deadpool was hoping to use it to end the pain of living for himself, but instead sacrificed it to get rid of his evil counterpart, thinking that, as a hero that's obviously the right move. Don't worry though, that wouldn't be the last we'd see of Evil Deadpool, who is of course far too fun of a character to kill off permanently after that first encounter. Well, a lot of folks may guess that Deadpool and Wolverine would be pretty evenly matched, especially with their team-up film coming to the big screen this summer. You actually might be surprised to learn that in most instances, it's actually Deadpool who comes out on top here. In the very first fight, this was also the case, and also, hilariously, this first fight actually also happens in a Wolverine issue, which is really painful, I feel like, for Logan. This was a case of Wolverine simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Both were looking for the same person, which is why they crossed paths. When Wolverine didn't have the answers that Wade was looking for though, Deadpool decided to make quick work of the old knucklehead. He ended up shish kebabbing Wolverine with his dual katanas and left him for a goner. Fortunately, Wolverine did recover and shows up later on in the same story, but still, this first fight definitely put Wade at 1-0 in terms of his fights against Wolverine. Saving the best for last in Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, we wait till the very last issue before Wade confronts Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. These two square off after Frank believes he has successfully defeated Deadpool, but guess what? Turns out he hasn't, of course. Instead, it seems as though the puppet master was dressed up in a disguise as Deadpool to act as a decoy, allowing Wade to reel in the real target, the Punisher himself. Before Wade blows him away though, he taunts the Punisher for being so easily fooled despite what drives him to fight back, a passionate and unyielding desire for vengeance. He's basically like, look where vengeance got you, lol. Joke's on you. After the deed is done, Deadpool also apologizes to the now deceased Punisher, saying that he knows that defeating Supes is normally Frank's thing, but that in the end, the Punisher simply wasn't able to think big enough to compete with Deadpool's reign of terror here. Gotta think outside the box. Of course, Deadpool doesn't just stop at the Punisher in his own Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe series. I mean, it is called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and that is exactly what happens. As I said, he doesn't even start with the Punisher. At the point of him taking out Frank in this reality, we're already 3 full issues in and onto our 4th issue, so you can imagine just how many people have just been taken out at that point. In Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, that is what Wade does. He kills not only the villains but also all the heroes as well, which is pretty wild. Why does this happen here? Well, unlike Frank's own Kill the Marvel Universe story, Deadpool is not actually out for revenge, but simply has come undone after realizing that he only exists in a comic and that his reality isn't actually real. It basically drives him kind of insane, or you could say maybe it drives him too sane. So in a way, he sees the killing as setting the others free from the prison they're trapped in, as well as, of course, setting himself free. That's about it. I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.